Are you ready to go on a roller coaster ride with me? Yes, hands up and get ready to go. We're struggling a little bit with this today, so I want to make sure that we get it down, have it solidified in our brains. Here's our little roller coaster number line. It's kind of, it's kind of going down. But that's going to help us to remember what 200s are numbers in between, and whether we go up the roller coaster and get stuck and have to go back down, or whether we get to go over the roller coaster and go to the next 100. So we were talking about several different numbers today, so let's give an easy number to kind of start with. Let's start with 150. And we want to know what 200s, 150s in between, and then figure out rounding it to the nearest 100, okay? So we already talked about the fact that we could count by tens. We have 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. Once we get to 100, then we're still counting by tens, but we're counting by to 110, 120, 130, 140, 150, 160, 170, 180, 190, 200. Did you hear me say 150 in there? I know you did. And so remember our roller coaster that we get to travel on. We started at what 100? At 100, and then we did 110, 120, 130, 140. I guess I could write it a little bit bigger. And 150 will come next. Then 160, 170, 180, 190, down to 200. And so remember what we said. If my number is going from 100 to 140, what happens? We don't have enough momentum to keep going, and our roller coaster cart goes back down to the lower number, our lower 100, which would just be 100. But what number did I say? I said 150, which is here. Once I get to my peak of my hill, then what does that mean? I get to go over and down in the hill. So it goes to the next 100, which is 200. So 150, 60, 70, 80, 90, those go to the next higher number, the next 100, which would be 200. All right, so let's try it now. I'm going to erase my ones, because who knows what number Miss Monroe is going to come up with. And then we will figure out whether we're going to get to go on a good roller coaster ride or get stuck. So let's go with 640. What would I do if I had 640? Round it to the nearest 100. You do it on your page and on a piece of paper before I get to it. 640. So remember, use the number line if you need to think about what 200s is 640 in between. And then think, am I going up and going over, or am I going up, getting stuck, and falling back down? What am I doing? Where would 640 be in between? What 200s? In between 600, and then it ends with 700. Did you get that? All right, if you didn't get that, then you've got to go back and practice. Go back, rewind, and think that through again, okay? So it starts with 600, because then we go to 610, 620, 630, 640, 650, 660, 670, 680, 690, 700. And so we're going up and coming back down, or we're going up and going over. So ready? We're at 600. Ready? So let's go up our roller coaster. 610, 620, 630, 640. Oh no. Where are we? We're only on 640, so what happens? Whoosh. We have to go back to what? To 600. We can't go to 700 because we didn't make it. oh man, 640, the rounding it to the nearest hundred, we would have to go back to 600. We can't go to the 700. All right, let's try another number, see how we do on that one. Let's do 970. 970. Let's see. Think it through. Where on our number line are we going to find 970? 970. It should be between what two numbers? Hopefully you thought 900. Remember what I told you, when you think 970, think of my first digit, what place it's in. It's in the hundredth place, so it's 900. And then what would my next highest 100 be? I think some of you got it. You recognize the fact that it's going to only be able to go to thousands, because we're already past all of the hundreds that we can go. Next is the 1,000th place. So if it's 970, ready? Let's start. 900, 910, 920, 930, 940, 950, 960, 970. What do we get to do? Woo! We get to go on our roller coaster to what number? 1,000. We get to go to 1,000. That would be our nearest 100 if our number was 970. So the rounding it to the nearest 100 would be going to 1,000. That's how we would round it. All right, good job. If you got that, give yourself a big pat on the back. Good job. Now we're going to do one more. Let's try 590. 590. So we have to think, what two digits? Where are we going to find 590? Between 100 and 200, 200 and 300, 300 and 400, 400 and 500, 500 and 600, 600 to 700. Where am I going to find 590? In between 500 and 600, right? Because remember, we look at our first digit, and that tells us 500. And then we go 100 after that, so 500 to 600. It's going to be in between there. But then we have to look at this little number in the middle. Because remember, that little number, 9, is either going to be getting ready to go up the hill or all the way down the hill, so we're getting ready to go to the next 100. So we start with what 100 on this side of our roller coaster? 500. And we end with what? 600, which it's got to only be 100, okay? 500 plus 100 equals 600, because we're counting by tens to get to the next 100. So if it's 590, if it's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, we're going to keep going. If it's 1, 2, 3, or 4, we have to go backwards. So 590, ready, let's count. 500, 510, 520, 530, 540, 550, 560, 570, 580, 590. Where do we go? We got to go down the whole roller coaster slope. It was pretty steep. And our next 100 is what? 600. So if we round 590 to the nearest 100, where is it going to be? It's going to be 600. Remember, we also looked today at our board and we said, okay, if we have our 600 here and we have 590, is 590 closer to 500 or 600, right? And it's way closer to 600 than 900. So that, or to 600 than 500. So that is what you are doing for rounding your numbers. Make sure that you get that right, okay? So thinking carefully, we'll do a little bit more of this just to remember and practice, but think through our roller coaster and count that if that helps you. So I want you to be practicing those rounding to the nearest 100 numbers today. All right, good job, guys. See you later.